From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Afternoons LALATE. In this recording, we look at videos from the White House this week and why the press secretary gave conflicting data about forced stimulus. When asked, when are we going to get it done? What are you doing to get it bipartisan? What are you going to do it by reconciliation? Her answers were inconsistent. And we go over the timeline of forced stimulus. July is when Speaker Pelosi and Leader Schumer want it for a vote. But does the White House call for a different time schedule? And what does this mean for you? When we're talking about monthly stimulus checks, every month is a stimulus check. But the quicker they get it done, the faster they're at the finish line. Do they all have the same date for the finish line? Or do they have it slightly different? For the first time ever, we see the videos lined up one after the other from the press secretary, and we see if the message is consistent or inconsistent. This is Afternoons LALATE. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Afternoons LALATE. How are you doing? I hope you're having a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Thank you for joining me. This is part of our full schedule of a lineup of programming coming up in 2 hours from now is Evenings LALATE. Hope you join me on that show as well. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video. And if you're not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. And I might be in the live chat right now, so say hi. Let me tell you where we are right now. A lot of viewers have been asking me when could we see this forced stimulus at a vote? Well, Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi have the same answer. We have a consistency on that. We have July. They want the vote called in for July. But what does the White House say? And why is the White House's message seemingly getting a little confusing across the board? In this video, I break down every video from the White House this week and line them up one after another and see if they're consistent or inconsistent. I love to hear your input as well. Here's what you need to know, is that a reconciliation bill takes 2 months to do. It takes 2 months to do at least. It is a long process. It's a two-step process. Step one is a bill itself, just a bill on reconciliation, no substance, in which they agree to do reconciliation. It goes to subcommittees, it goes to a vote, goes to another subcommittees, goes to another vote, and then signed by the president. Then under step two, they actually do the substantive bill. It goes to subcommittees, vote, subcommittees, and vote, and then off to the and then off for votorama, in which they make modifications. So it's not a quick process. You were with me for third stimulus. You saw how long it takes. So the question is when. As you look at the calendar this weekend, we're entering almost the end of April. We're almost at May. It's 2 months to do it. June, July. Well, wait a second here. We're really on the cusp of the deadline, aren't we? It looks like we are. Here's what you need to know. July is when Congress starts to take a lot of vacations. If you're with me last year, you saw the impact of July. July was when then Senator Harris said, we can't allow FPC to expire and go on vacation and not have FPC renewed. And what do? They went on vacation. They didn't take care of it. In fact, many of the big programs which are covered on this channel expired in July because congressional leaders just went on vacation. This channel is a little bit bigger now than last July, and you are a little bit more vocal than you were back in July. You can't allow these senators to go on vacation. Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi are adamant that this bill will be finalized, meaning it will be signed into law in July. But here's the issue. Is if it goes longer than July, then you're pushing up on September, and then suddenly monthly stimulus checks looks like 2 months of checks. Under a Senate policy, they go out in October, November, December, well, maybe 3 checks. No. We want 6 checks. We want 18 checks. We don't want 1 check again. That's the starting point. The second point is that every month that passes, this economy is rebounding. And on Evenings LA tonight, you're going to see new economic data that shows this economy is booming faster than anyone knows that at issue. So what's going on with the president then? Let's go back to what the president has said The president wants 3 items in the stimulus package. He doesn't care about the issue of stimulus checks. That's something that's going to be taken care of by Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi. They're going to add on the stimulus checks. He wants for himself in there infrastructure, climate, and taxes. The taxes is to pay for the first 2. Here's the issue, and no one seems to be really asking this question. It's been over a year in which I always seem to say, why isn't a news reporter asking this question of the president? The Republicans have said they are not giving a penny for climate. They have said it over and over again. And the president says, doing nothing is not an option. I'll negotiate with you. Their response is, we're not negotiating climate. We're not giving you a penny on climate. So if you have one side saying, I'll negotiate, and the other saying we're not going to negotiate, then why isn't starting reconciliation now? The messaging from the president has been very vague, I guess you would say, as to why and what he's actually doing to negotiate with people who won't give anything for climate. And as you've seen over the last few days, the president's videos that have been released, publicity videos, mention climate in almost passing breath, as though there is no climate in the bill. Even the energy secretary, who is one of the most key cabinet members who talks about energy, her video speaks very little bit about climate. So is he really taking climate out? No. Is he trying to downsize climate? Perhaps, yes. But is climate coming out of the bill? No. So then why not do reconciliation? This is the question that press reporters have not asked the press secretary. If the president is getting messages from the Republicans that they don't want to do climate, why are you waiting and not starting reconciliation? The messaging from the White House has been generally, when asked, are you still negotiating? Yes, we want to find a common ground, but there is no common ground for climate. The press secretary had a series of videos this week, one after another, where she was asked a series of basically the same question in different contexts, which says, are you really negotiating, or are these faux negotiations? Are these negotiations for the optics of making it look like you're bipartisan, but that you really just want to do what you want to do? And each time the press secretary seemingly got a little bit heated by even the notion of the question. In one of her responses, she said, the president is a busy man. He doesn't have time to have people waste his time. Well, on the other hand, you would say, perhaps the president wants to spend time and make it look like he's doing something bipartisan when he's not doing something bipartisan. It's really quite interesting. Let's start with the videos and let's see your reaction. Let's start with the very first one, in which the president is asked, the president's press secretary is asked, what's going on with the stimulus package? Let's listen in to this exchange from this week.
Other key voices, as we've noted, 40 leaders have been invited to galvanize efforts to keep the vital goal of limiting global warming, and we know that objective is within reach.
In this recording, the press secretary is going to say the next week the president's spending a lot of time on climate, but none of the questions that follow up ask, why is climate in an infrastructure bill? Let's listen.
The summit leaders will also discuss mobilizing public and private sector financing to drive the net zero transition and to help vulnerable countries cope with climate impacts, the economic benefits of climate action with a strong emphasis on job creation, and the importance of ensuring all communities and workers benefit from the transition to a new clean energy economy will be central to the discussions, will be part of what the president will be focused on. The full summit will be live streamed for public viewing. More information related to the agenda, speakers, and media opportunities will be announced in the days ahead.
Important message in that video is that there's nothing bipartisan about this climate event. It's just the president speaking to others about climate. Once again, it doesn't show any bipartisanship on climate. It's just the president speaking about the need for climate. Then on another day this week, the press secretary also addressed issues across the board for stimulus. Let's see where this exchange took her in her answers.
On the infrastructure bill, Speaker Pelosi says that she wants to get this all done by July 4th. So how much time is the White House willing to negotiate with Republicans before you start making big decisions about what?
So here the question is very clear. Speaker Pelosi says she wants this done by July 4th. And when she means done by July 4th, she means done by both House and the Senate by July 4th. The reporter asks, why are you belaboring this if July 4th is less than 2 months away now? Let's hear the response to the question.
To push through.
Well, we'd like to see some progress and some forward movement by Memorial Day, and the president would love to have the package signed or passed, I should say, this summer.
Well, that makes no sense. Here, that at its core is either unresponsive or makes no sense. The press secretary says she'd like to see the president would like to see some progress by Memorial Day. Progress? And what do you mean by progress by Memorial Day? First of all, it makes no sense. Do you mean progress in the negotiations that suddenly Republicans are going to give you climate? They've already said they're not going to give you climate. So progress from what? The Republicans will suddenly give in and give climate? And then the second part of that sentence is very confusing. Progress in the negotiations by Memorial Day? I don't think Leader Schumer or Speaker Pelosi agree upon that whatsoever. I think the press secretary's statement there is completely inconsistent with what Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi are doing. What their plan is to set up to get this finalized and to law on July 4th. You heard it early in the video. The only way you get it done by law by July 4th is to start the reconciliation process 2 months out. Leader Schumer did a major move with the Senate parliamentarian just days ago to get a recon win, an extra recon win, so he could do this one with an extra recon. He didn't do this to get an extra recon win to sit around and wait for it to go bipartisanship and then start the bill after Memorial Day. This statement makes no sense from the press secretary that the president would sort of look at the situation and hope a Republican sort of changes their mind and suddenly gives him climate after Memorial Day, and then we'll start working on it. What? It doesn't make any sense. Again, the message from Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi, get it done by July. They know of reconciliation takes 2 months away. We're approaching 2 months away in the next few weeks to start stimulus. Let's listen to the next video. Let's see and drop your comments so far, what you've seen going down so far. Here's the third video on the subject.
Just to piggyback on the corporate tax rate,
Yeah.
Senator Manchin said that he only supports raising it to 25%, that's his line in the sand. What's the White House response to that? And has the president or Secretary Buttigieg spoken to Manchin about that corporate?
Okay, so let me explain what this reporter, who ironically is the same reporter who asked the question in the other video. This reporter is going in. This reporter is going on in. She's not holding back. What is this reporter asking? It's a great question. It's a very coy question. So let me explain what she's setting up. The reporter saying Senator Manchin has said now over a week ago that he supports a different corporate tax rate than what the president has proposed. Have you spoken to Senator Manchin? It's been a week. Have you done anything with Senator Manchin? It's not so much what Senator Manchin said. It's whether anyone has actually spoken to the Democrats as to what they want in the stimulus package. Or is it just a president releasing a lot of publicity videos about what he wants in the stimulus package? Let's listen in to... This is getting interesting. Let's listen to the exchange now from the press secretary when asked, what have you been doing with Manchin? It's been 3 weeks now, or 2 weeks about Manchin. What is your reaction to Manchin and his requests? Let's see the answer to this exchange.
Well, we are in regular touch with a range of officials, senators, members of Congress. There have been dozens and dozens of meetings and briefings.
In other words, I'm not answering the question. She doesn't answer the question, has she spoken to Manchin? It's a very simple question. Have you spoken to Manchin? No, we've spoken to dozens and dozens of vague people. Let's listen to that response again.
Josh, you went. Go ahead.
Me first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Great, thanks, Jen. So just to piggyback on the corporate tax rate,
Yeah.
Senator Manchin said that he only supports raising it to 25%, that's his line in the sand. What's the White House response to that? And has the president or Secretary Buttigieg spoken to Manchin about that corporate tax rate?
Well, we are in regular touch with a range of officials, senators, members of Congress. There have been dozens and dozens of meetings and briefings. I don't have a specific readout of our engagements with Senator Manchin. I'm sure he could share that with all of you. But I would say that we're certainly encouraged to hear that Senator Manchin is open to raising the corporate tax rate as a means of potentially paying for a historic investment in our nation's infrastructure, and most importantly, to creating jobs. And the president is happy to hear ideas or alternatives for how this plan and package should be paid for. His primary focus is on this investment, on creating jobs, on helping put back to work the millions of men and women who don't have college degrees, on ensuring we're evening the playing field, on doing what we can to compete with China over the long term. There are disagreements about how to pay for it. We're happy to have a discussion about that.
And then
So the net result was the press secretary could not tell the reporter if the president has even spoken to Manchin. But if you want to know if Manchin spoke to the president, go ask Manchin. How about that answer? Don't ask me if the president spoke to Manchin. Go ask Manchin if he spoke to the president. Okay, thank you. Really interesting exchange. There was another video, which I couldn't tee up for you, in which the press secretary was asked, is the president actually having real bipartisan meetings, or are these faux meetings? And the press secretary took homage with the question at issue and said the president would not waste his time on having faux meetings, that he's trying to do bipartisanship. Here's the rub. Here is the rub, is that in the last, how many weeks has it been since the president first debuted the infrastructure proposal? One, we have no document about the proposal. This is different than the third stimulus. Remember, in the third stimulus, I actually had for you a proposal from the White House of what they wanted in the third stimulus package. And before this even started, the fourth stimulus package, I told you there was a series of taxes the president was wanting to raise: corporate, inheritance, gift tax, and capital gains. Then, before the president announced his fourth stimulus package, the press secretary was asked, "Is he going to raise taxes?" We don't know. We don't have a bill yet. Then he announced his bill, and he said corporate tax rate at 28%. He has still not said if there is capital gains tax, inheritance tax, or those other types of tax raises in there as well. Why? Because there's no bill. There's not even a proposal. So what's important for you to understand as you sit here, because I've not done this video in almost several weeks, is the president has still not specifically given any details of what is in this fourth stimulus package from his point of view. You understand, he's not giving you stimulus checks. That's coming from Speaker Pelosi and Leader Schumer. But you can see how people may not be able to even negotiate on something if they don't know what they're negotiating on. Understand, corporate taxes is for corporations. Inheritance taxes is for middle class. Everyone that has a grandma or a grandpa that dies, that doesn't go by trusts and wills, there's a will. It doesn't go by trust, by the state, goes by a will. And that will is taxable, and you pay inheritance tax. If you are middle class and you have a grandparent that dies of a car or dies of a house, you pay inheritance tax. He wants to change that. How much? We don't know. We don't know. And this is why ultimately these questions are starting to grow among these reporters, and suddenly you see less of a response from the White House time and time again. Here's what you need to know. Ultimately, the purpose of this recording is to show you the impact of timing for the fourth stimulus package. You and I know that ultimately the stimulus package has to go by reconciliation. There's no other way. The president's not getting rid of climate anytime soon. So the bill has to go by reconciliation. You and I also know how long it takes to do a reconciliation. We did third stimulus together as a reconciliation. And you and I know that during 2020, we saw it a couple times, Leader Schumer, or then Minority Schumer, and Speaker Pelosi often said deals were imminent, things are happening. They gave us timelines, and they didn't stay by those timelines. So far, throughout 2021, they have been consistent on saying fourth stimulus will be called for a vote in July. And you saw in this video, by July 4th, by 4th of July. Well, you want to make sure they don't push up on that date. You want to make sure that the vote comes far before that. But you also want to make sure that reconciliation starts 2 months ahead of time. 2 months ahead of time, folks, is just a few days away. We're approaching May 4th in just a few weeks. And ultimately, the president's messaging so far is that he has a plan, come to me with a counter-proposal. But when asked what are the counter-proposals and who are meeting with the president, we're not going to tell you. Who is proposing a counter-proposal, we're not going to tell you. It's really not bowing well. If the messaging was to do bipartisanship, or at least optics of bipartisanship, it's not looking like bipartisanship. The president is going to, at one point, have to take a path, and the path is going to have to be that I made an effort for bipartisanship. It has not worked. Now I have to do by reconciliation. But every time the press secretary doesn't want to tell you who the president's meeting with, it doesn't look like he's trying to even look like he's doing bipartisanship. A little bit confusing. Over this weekend, the president released some more videos. And every few days, there's literally now a video pitching the nuances of the fourth stimulus package. We got it. We understand what's in there, but we also understand it needs to get done. Meantime, what's going on with $50,000 of student loan debt forgiveness? What's going on with that $6,000 of Ron Wynn? What's going on with mortgage forbearance and eviction moratorium? And what's going on with the EIDL grant? I have all those details and more coming up right after this commercial break. Stay with me. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right after this afternoon's LA broadcast with Evenings LA. Evenings LA, the hit show, is 2 hours away. I hope you join me on that big show coming up in 2 hours from now. Then 2 hours after that is our late night irreverent, humorous, non-informative video, Late Night, in which I have invited guests, Sirloin and Javita Late, give your impressions of today's events. It is a moment you do not want to miss. Thank you for joining me on Afternoons LA. If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Heart, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. And if you see me in the chat or see someone that looks like me in the chat, say, hi, how are you? I recognize you from those scars. Let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news also today involved the question of what's going on with student loan debt forgiveness, folks. Miguel Cardona, your head of your education secretary, was due yesterday with a memo that would detail whether the president has executive authority to forgive student loan debt or not. And that memo was just so mysterious because we never saw it. Who's running the clock at the Department of Education? Nancy Pelosi. The memo was due yesterday. It was 2 weeks. He was ordered to produce the memo within 2 weeks. It was not produced yesterday. Or if it was produced, it's missing because no one has heard from him. Miguel Cardona was supposed to detail to the president whether he can forgive student loan debt by executive order and whether prior presidents have. Senator Elizabeth Warren says it has been done before. Obama did it and Trump did it, hence Biden can do it. And that the president said he would forgive $50,000 of student loan debt once he saw that memo, if it says he could. So did you see the memo? And what does the memo say? Don't know. Don't know. And again, those wonderful news reporters, no one actually has been following this story except me. And so certainly they didn't ask the press secretary yesterday, where's that memo? Come back when you see me with some more memos. Yeah, not particularly clear what's going on with these people. And then Ron Wyden, who we saw in another video yesterday with a little bit less hair, introduced a standalone bill this week. That's really great news for people who are independent contractors. There's a series of events that are about to unfold in September, and you need to know what they are. In September, FPUC will expire, PUA will expire, PEUC, which is the extension of additional weeks of UI, will expire. Mortgage forbearance will expire. A lot of the programs which you have seen under first stimulus all the way up to the present are set to expire. Ron Wyden thinks there needs to be some fixes to the unemployment system. He was one of the people who wanted to give you FPUC retro, and every time he pushes, he backs off of it. Not doing it anymore, he's currently not. But instead, he wants to provide something for PUA people. If you're an independent contractor, sole practitioner, or gig worker, he wants to provide you relief permanently under the system. How does this work? He wants to add PUA as a federal supplement for unemployment lifetime. As you know, an independent contractor is not an employee. You're not a W-2. You're not an employee of someone else. You're a sole practitioner. So you do not qualify for state unemployment assistance ever under state unemployment rules. And when PUA expires, there's nothing for you. He wants to solve that. He wants to create a new program that will pay you $250 a week for up to 6 months per year, which would be $6,000 a year. Lifetime as often as you need it. So if you're unemployed next year for 2 months, you got something there. If you're unemployed 5 years from now for 3 weeks, there's something there for you. It's a great idea. It's a great innovative idea. And finally, someone's working out of the box and thinking out of the box to really solve a lot of the problems. This pandemic has shown us things that need to be fixed. That's one of the things that we need to fix, and it's good. It's among the standalone items that are sitting in the Senate. There's that bill that is now standalone in the Senate, the $6,000 from Ron Wyden. There's also a standalone bill in the Senate for student loan debt forgiveness, which is different than the push for executive order of student loan debt forgiveness. There is also a series of other standalone bills like the Elizabeth Warren wealth tax that would set up the funding for things like SSI and SSDI $2,400 or reforming the SSI, the Social Security Administration system. That bill is still in the Senate. There's bill after bill sitting in the Senate, and you want these bills to get going, folks, because remember, the Senate session does not last forever. The bills expire at the end of the Senate session. You don't want something to be entered and then nothing's done with it. Over in the House, we do have that standalone bill from the House Democrats that would pay you stimulus checks every month to the end of the pandemic plus 1 year. You hear me talk about it in almost every video. And while I talk about it in the context of the forced stimulus, the president's infrastructure bill, they actually have a bill for it in the House. It's a standalone bill. So they could always do that by standalone bill as well. Leader Schumer also has introduced other standalone bills, one for legalization of marijuana and other items like that. So there's a lot of standalone bills which predate even forced stimulus getting to the floor of the Senate. And finally, EIDL grant, EIDL loan, PPP. Let me go over the big breaking developments for that as well. The remainder of $10,000 EIDL grant is landing in inboxes this week, and it's not coming in order. People who applied for EIDL grant did so in 2020 from March to May and then again in July. What SBA is doing is sending you an invite if you are in a low income based community or they think you are, in no order, in complete randomness. So people from July are getting invitations before people from March from the same city. Watch for that invite. Then they're going to everyone else. The turnaround time to respond to that's relatively quick, so don't let it lapse. Then the PPP grant has now gone live again, is extended by executive order. Reach out to Fundera, Cabbage, or any of those online lenders that can do that for you. Then also the shuttered venue grant. I thought it had gone live again. It's still not. Yesterday night, SBA sent out an email, which I have as well, that says our shuttered venue grant, we're having technical problems with the system. It has not gone live, so stay with us. We're not quite sure when it's going to go live, so maybe Monday or Tuesday next week. And that's not just for venues. And finally, the restaurant grant's about to go live as well. A lot of details across the board. Thank you for joining me on a big afternoon of Afternoons LA. Coming up on Evenings LA, you'll see new video from the White House about his push for forced stimulus. You'll see my reaction to the president talking about hazard pay. Hazard pay? Yeah, the president talks about hazard pay, and I give my reaction to him mentioning hazard pay, but not paying for hazard pay. Oh, yeah. That's going to be a video you don't want to miss. And also tonight, Javita Late and Sirloin rejoin the lineup on LA Late Night. So if you're a vegetarian and don't like beef, you may not want to watch that. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. We're approaching our 1-year anniversary on this channel, April 25th, and every subscriber helps as we try to get to 400,000 subscribers. So make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video. Consider liking this video. Don't miss a single broadcast across the schedule of today's programming. Let me show you again our big schedule of shows here on the channel. If I can find the graphic. Maybe I can't find the graphic. Well, if I can't, then who cares? The excitement continues in 2 hours from now with Evenings LA, and then 2 hours after that is LA Late Night. And also consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. I'll see you in 2 hours from now with Evenings LA. Stay informed, stay focused, and save LA for more.